It's time.
Time.
It is time. Let's get it done.
This is done.
We've got Armando's 2011 Chevy Colorado in the house, all the way from down by Houston, somewhere down the bottom of Texas, somewhere down there. It's going to be turbocharged once it leaves here. It's going to be pretty hot. It's got a 5.3 in it, stuff like that. So this tranny here, we are going to Sonex to death. I mean, we're going to be putting everything that you can think of in here that we know that'll hold up and for quite a bit of power. So let me show you what we got here. Now we're going to be putting the Sonex billet drum and input shaft. Late version, like I said, this is a 4L70 tranny. This is a very late version.
That's
So
dirty.
the input shaft and drum comes with all the pistons and the seals and the instructions on how to do everything. Now we also are going to be putting the Sonex forward planet, the gear reduction one that works really well in these units. We really like these things. They really hold up well. Really nice piece. Now also we're going to be putting the Sonex billet output shaft. Get this thing out of there. This is really nice stuff, guys. Armando wanted it done right. I mean, he stood in line for a long time to get this done, and we're really excited to do it for him. Here's our Sonex output shaft too. Billet shaft here, really nice piece. Now we're also going to be putting a Z-Pack in it. All new clutches. We're going to be putting a new roller forward hub here. New AC Delco bearing. We're also going to be putting a Sonex boost valve in it. We're going to be putting a hardened shell. Now we like the factory GM hardened shells. They're lightweight, less mass spinning. Works really nice. We're also going to be putting a wide band in it. Really nice. Now we're also going to be putting a new pump assembly in it, but we're going to be using stainless rings. We're not going to be using the cast rings that the kit come with. So that's going to be a good upgrade. Also a new forward piston here, new accumulator pistons here all through, new bushing seals, new Corvette servo, some bonded pistons. We got a lot of stuff going on, guys. So this unit here, I'm not sure how bad it is right now. We just drove it in and did a computer check on it, and we jerked it out. So let's get this thing tore apart. Now we are going to be putting a 3000 stall in it. We've got our converter over here from B&I already, sitting here ready to go. So really nice converter. So I'm hoping there's nothing wrong with this. This is just a really nice unit. And we have our lockup O-ring here. It's shrunk up pretty bad, square, not round anymore. That thing is just as flat as it could be.
Yeah.
It's not even round no more. So you know that didn't work very good. So lockup was definitely going to fail. Get our tail housing on. Now there's going to be a little bit of difference on the inside of this unit, being that it's a 70. The physical neutral safety switch is on the inside now. So, now our speed sensors, reluctor still here. We still have our standard speed sensor here. Got our O-rings, got an orange coating on it. That's how you can identify it. That's a stock bushing. Would be going with a brass style with dimples in it. Wrong screw out. This one here works better. Can you believe I forgot tools again?
Yeah.
I did. Now we like using the factory fourth gear cover and piston. That's plenty big enough. You can upgrade to the Sonex assembly. That works really good too, but we can make them hit pretty hard and forth and hang on pretty good. So, but we will be updating to the Corvette servo, stuff like that. So, now this is a late model. You can tell by the color of the connector. Instead of black and gray, I can't remember, but this is the blue, the latest version, the blue and brown.
Hopefully these aren't going to be booted up like them others.
Yeah, hopefully this hasn't been. Oh, this has got the late style. I'm gonna have to go get my torque socket for that. I didn't pay attention.
I guess he wasn't ready after all.
I was not ready after all, but I'm ready now. Now when they updated to the later versions, they changed the torque socket they had on it to like a square instead of this one here. Can I tell you if there's any better or not? I really can't tell you. You could probably strip out both of them if you don't get this down in there far enough. Main thing is to have a really powerful impact that can really hit that bolt on the head first time. Did you see that? How it jumped out of there? That bolt is tight. Okay. So we're going to have to get serious with this one because we do not want to fight it. It tried to mess that bolt up. Give it a couple whacks. The next time you get on it, make sure you push on it really hard. That way you get it, because if not, you're going to have to chisel it out. So. And you can see here the one that got damaged taking it out. Now you can go back with the early style. It's the same bolt. Next guy that rebuilds it might not like you or something, but you can definitely see the square, the difference in the two. So, a lot different. So. Pretty neat. So that just tells you when you're working on the later stuff, you're going to see a change. And we still have our front seal retainer here. You can take off with your hand and thumb, but we always glue these on, glue the seal in, and then you know it retains the seal really good. You don't see a lot of factory drain plugs in the fans anymore. It's kind of rare. But we haven't dropped the pan on this at all, so we don't know what's in it. If it's full of metal or... I know the R&R these Colorados, it's definitely a lot different than your standard GM. A lot tighter, the exhaust really tucks in really tight on the sides of these units. They got shields that protect everything. A lot of stuff to take off when you R&R them. That's a pretty wild looking gasket there, guys. Ain't seen one of them. That's a factory or not, but got a couple magnets in here. I don't know if that one's supposed to be there or not, but I know that one's supposed to be there. That's kind of weird. Never seen that before. Never seen that gasket before neither. That's kind of weird. Now your filter's going to be the same. So got your cutoff style corner. filter's not totally plugged up. Pan's not full of metal, just age, I guess you could say. Hasn't been serviced in a while.
Normal driving way.
Yes, ma'am. And thank you, Teresa, for filming today.
You're welcome.
Now, we have our input speed sensor wiring here. Now, they moved the neutral safety switch to the inside of the tranny. Now, all the other cylinders will still be the same. Your PWM. Now, they did get away with the 3-2 downshift solenoid, though. Did you notice that? It's missing.
Totally.
Totally gone. Still have your input speed, your downshift solenoid, or excuse me, your PWM solenoid, your lockup solenoid, your pressure control, your 2 shift solenoids. Now, we had a guy I seen on another web page talking about how these solenoids are really loose in the bore, and a lot of them are, but if you take and put a new O-ring on it, it usually tightens them up. Same way with these O-rings here on these solenoids here. You can test these, clean them up, and reuse these, as long as it tests good, you know. So you gotta be careful. Get that off there. Now you notice what else is missing? Our pillow switch here. It's totally gone. Now we do have our temp sensor right here, but your pillow switch that used to set right there, grab one really quick, just an old one, that used to set right there, you notice it's gone. So they did a lot of changes in these. When you get it, the gaskets are different, the valve body plate's different. Now when it comes to the internals, didn't change hardly nothing at all. We'll go ahead and take this stuff off here first. Get our part spring off and decant lever. Now when you take this off and put it back, you want to make sure you grab this right. You got to put this roller right in here. That way it keeps this stationary right there. That way it don't turn, because this right here will actually turn away from it. See? So if you put this together like like that, or you can do anything. I've seen people do anything. So believe me.
Good to know. You can do anything.
People can do anything. Now we still have our 3 8mm bolts here. All these bolts here are the same length, and then you have your 2 short ones here. But you'll have your 3 8mm ones here. And these are longer than these here. So you don't want to stick them anywhere else in the tranny. Now this is a bonded gasket, you can see here. In my earlier video, before this unit here had the same thing, a bonded gasket. But all of our check balls are the same. I mean, they're not in, they rolled out, but you can see where they went. Real simple. So, nothing changed in that area. Get the connector out of there real quick. And you can see the blue and brown connector, totally different wiring harness. This one here doesn't have fluid in the connector. I don't know if it's a better design or anything like that, but still always replace it. This guy's, we're never going to see him again unless he decides to stop in. So.
Say hey, y'all.
Yep. Now you can see our 1-2 accumulators at the bottom again. We just did The tranny in our earlier video, we just got it done in that pickup and stuff, and I mean, that tranny works nice. We actually, we done away with this body here. I need to go out in my trailers. I've got hundreds of these out here, and what we do is we don't like to use this style here. What we'll do is they make an earlier version where this area right here is raised up to here. Now the depth is still there for this spring here, but the spring I'm going to put in there is about this much longer. It's a little bit earlier design, and that way it doesn't take much of a spring to hold the piston up to the top. See, if not, you're going to have to find a spring that sets all the way down in here. So you don't want that. But they make multiple versions of this right here. So we swap them around a lot depending on what we're doing. You know, we don't get rid of that because that's still a nice accumulator. And then of course we're going to come in here and play with the lockup valve and stuff. And here's our accumulator too. A lockup valve, pressure control valve. So the valves look really nice. If they're a coated valve, look for the coating to be wore off of them or start pitting around the edge of the valve. Get our forward accumulator off here. Now, of course, we're going to have a plastic piston in here, you know that. So we'll be getting rid of that and updating it with aluminum piston. Don't do anything other to this area other than that. You know, if you're building a really high horsepower stuff, you can actually block that, but it's a really harsh engagement. Scotch-Brite this up really good with a new seal, slides really well. Very simple. Now this lever is the same. They didn't change anything there. Like I say, this plate is totally different than any of the earlier designs. So gasket's different, everything about it's different. Just when you order your kit, just make sure you get the right year. And then we'll block this off with a dual piston. And we'll put a 30,000 shim in here. Like I said, basically what we're doing, we're putting a 30,000 shim in here, and we're going to put this back in there just like this. Just make sure it's below this area or flush. Pretty simple. Put your new seal here, leave your old seal on here. Just use this as a spare basically to help seal it a little bit. We get our parts lever and stuff off of here real quick. And you can kind of see down here that how this lever works. Locks into that ring gear right there. Can park. Very simple. Now we do have a check ball here. You can actually leave that out if you wanted to. We try to keep all of our check balls. Actually, sometimes they get scarce around here. Yeah, there's like 5 of them in there. I'll get them out of there. Always double seal your bolts. Even if you put a new O-ring here, always seal them. Did you see how much oil come out of that when I pulled that bolt out of there? So always seal. It's going to leak through here because that's where all your pressure points are. Up here it's not so much. It's at the bottom down there. Make sure I got them out of there good. We have our pump washer, 2-tab. We have our input speed sensor. Now once you put a boost valve in these, you're not changing it in the vehicle. So once you decide to put a 500 boost valve in here or something like that, you put it in there and you put this plug assembly together and put the pump in, put it in the vehicle, you are not getting this out of the way to get that back out of there. So once you're committed, you're committed. So, but one thing good about it is if you put a Corvette servo in it and it just shifts way too hard, you can always go back and change some things up and fix it. But just remember, once you do that, you're committed. And here's our input speed sensor. So you're going to look in here really good for where the paddles run in your rotor. Look on both sides here. Just some staining. Looks really nice. Look down in here for any rubbing. If this bushing ever goes bad, you could have problems in here where this shaft starts rubbing down in here. So you always want to check that. Now we're going to be replacing all these bushings with brass bushings and stuff, so a little bit harder bushing. Putting a Sonex boost valve and stuff in here. So then we'll upgrade the pump with stainless rings and stuff like that, and a coated bushing. Now this does have a cone spring for the pump slide. Try to get my little check valve. Instead of a dual spring. I've tried all kinds of things. I've actually put a bolt in there before. I mean, we've tried all kinds of things. I remember, Tricia, you got to remember, your Trans Am made 1,000 rear wheel. Right. And when you were driving that car, we had problems trying to make a 4L60E hold up.
Right.
So we were doing all kinds of things to make this tranny hold up in her car. So we have a pump slide here. It looks pretty good. You can start to see a little bit of wear in the middle.
Good catch.
Yeah, that was a good catch. But like I said, we'll put a new slide in here. Look at the pin really good. Get your spring out. Scotch-Brite this up. Looks really nice. Scotch-Brite's your friend, guys. I'm telling you. You can make things look brand new with some Scotch-Brite. I mean, polish. It works really good. Like I say, this pump does have a hard pump seal instead of a rubber O-ring style. Instead of a flexible like this. There's actually no groove in the body no more for it. They eliminated the groove all the way together. And then, like I said, they added this here. Some of these are pretty tough to get out. I have to get my gloves off to get that out of there. Get my nails under there and get mean with it. So you always want to get your band anchor out of here. That way you can just pull this drum out just like that. If your band's in your anchor, it's really hard. The band will hook on this ledge right here, and next thing you know, you have to rip it out of there to get it apart. So we have our stock band. You can see here where it's already cooked. Started blistering the material on it and stuff. On both ends even. You can see it here on this end here too. So, and we have our band anchor. Really nice looking drum. Babbitt bushings. All the bushings will be replaced with brass. reverse clutch. Don't ever really see anything ever there go wrong. We see the reverse clutch cut into the drum right here a lot, stuff like that, but really ain't figured out why it does it, if the clutches are out of balance or what gives it that shake to start cutting the drum up like that. So now we're going to be putting a Sonex billet input drum and shaft in this thing. You want to check this bearing for any type of wear. I mean, this thing will whine and park in neutral and you think it's a pump. So just check that really good. Now you have a spacer here and it is selective. This is a 67, they make a 68, 69, so you can set your clearances. So, and then you see your counter right here for your input speed sensor. And your billet drum has it too. You can see this here, Teresa. They're right there too. Okay, so it's going to be a really nice unit when we get it done. I'm excited to do it for him. He's waited a long time, definitely. But we're just, like I say, starting to get access to parts and stuff that we just couldn't get before, and it's still slim. So you got your 3/4 clutch. Now we're going to go back with a Z-pack instead of this 6 clutch plate. Now if you use an Alto clutch kit, it does not come with the ply plate. You're going to need to keep this or make sure yours is good. So, because these are bad about bowing. If you look at this, it's bowed inward in the middle right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's bowed like that all the way around, kind of dipped in. So that's the problem that we see with this type of stuff. So, and then we have our forward clutch assembly and stuff down in here. Big old thick snap ring. And they are different sizes. Really thick. You can see how thick that is compared to your 3/4 snap ring.
Yeah.
Okay guys, I don't know if a lot of people never talked about this seal right here. They've made this seal multiple different ways, different forms, different material, some hard plastic that fell apart, caused all kinds of planetary failure. If you leave this seal out right here, this is your loop circuit. You can see that hole right there. And then you see this hole in the end of this shaft. This seal is what seals those two shafts together, so you can pump oil through this hole here to lubricate all the planets in the back. If you leave this out, your planet's going to be dead if you ever get on the highway really quick. I mean, it's just going to wipe them right out. So that is something you have to put back in.
Critical.
Very critical. And like I said, an early 700 is different than a 4L60, 60E. So you got to be careful what you get through there. So and we have all of our forward clutches and engine brake clutch and stuff like that. I say so far it looks really nice. I mean, you can tell that he wasn't hard on it or anything right now, but he's fixing to be. So that snap ring out there. First time, look at that. First time. Don't happen often. And we have our forward planet. You can see it's just a 4-pinion. This tranny and this truck is going to love that Sonex forward planet. I'm telling you guys, they work. They're a little pricey, but let me tell you, it's worth every penny of it. Well worth it. Now you notice this too, how this bearing right here does not center on the planet. It centers in the hub here. See that? How that holds that bearing stationary? Well, if you ain't careful, some of these drums right here, these hubs that we buy are different. Look at that. So if you stuck this brand new hub in here on this Planetary assembly like this, just saying, even though I'm going to put a Sonex, this bearing's going to sit here and wobble because it does not fit. it does not fit. If you look at this one, it fits down in there perfectly nice and tight. Okay, so you got to be really careful. Now they do have the bearing that will fit this and keep it stationary here. So, and they do have a bearing that'll set here and keep it stationary. So you can play around and find the bearing that'll work, but you got to be careful when you buy these hubs. You just can't throw them on there unless you check that and make sure that's right. So there's a lot of things that can get you on this later stuff. And even on the earlier 4L60s too, I see the difference. And you can see here where it's already starting to wear too. I say they hardened this end here because they had issues with the bushing here, the sun gear bushing wearing into it. But they forgot to harden it down through here. See, so now it's soft here and hard here, and we don't have the wear here, we have wear here. So they fixed one thing, created another problem. Same way the ring gear, you want to look on both sides for any type of wear. Looks really nice. Let's see, well, how many miles does this truck have on it? If it has it on here yet. No, it doesn't have it on the ticket yet. But here we have now this is a hardened shell here. The later versions, GM did start hardening it around here. But we will replace it because they start having wear issues around here. So.
Looking for?
That's it. I'm looking for my anti-clunk spring. Maybe it fell down in here somewhere. Oh, there it is. I was fixing to say, I knew they didn't leave this out from GM. It fell behind here.
Yeah.
So look on both sides so you can look at this ring gear, how bad it's wore out right here on these teeth. Can you see that, Teresa, how pitted that is? Let me see if I can shine my flashlight. Can you see that?
Yeah, you can see it better without the flashlight.
Can you?
Mm-hmm.
See how wore out that ring gear is?
Mm-hmm.
It wore plumb out all the way around. See, that thing whined like crazy right there. But it's crazy, you can come in and look at your Planetary gear and it could be fine. You just have to look at them. Even though you have wear there, it's crazy how hard these gears are and they will not wear when you could have wear there. The main thing here is look for any wobbling. Got any thrust washer wear to give it a lot of play back and forth. This little bearing down in here, you want to check it too. You can set it in here and push on it. And you'll be able to feel any rough spots or anything like that, how to check that bearing right there. And so always replace your bushing in here. Now they do make Sonex does make a wide one. Transgo sells them. So, oops. You see it sits in there like that. So the earlier design, this bushing was so narrow that it just cut groove in there after a certain period of time. Same way here is look at this sun gear. We've been replacing every one of these sun gears in these units. I mean the Dodges, these. I mean you just start seeing it wearing.
Yep.
Okay, so lately we've been buying things by the dozens. I mean just tons of parts. And we have our low reverse clutch. Now we will be taking the wave out and getting rid of it and stacking 2 extra steels. Now the earlier unit that I did, when I went to stack it back, it had 1 thick steel on the bottom that went against the wave. Sometimes you see that, sometimes you don't. If it has that, you have to get rid of it and go with a thin. If not, you won't be able to stack it upright. So you will have to get rid of the thick one, go find you a thin one, put it in there. Get your 2 extras that you're replacing the wave with, grind the 2 fingers off each one of them, and then set them down in there like that. So, actually, I set that thing somewhere. What did I do with it? Here it is. Yeah, look here, guys. This is what I was talking about. This steel here I took out of another tranny. That earlier tranny in the earlier video. See how much thicker that rear plate is? So when I stuck my unit together and started checking my rear clutch clearance, it was already applied. So I had to go find me a thin one, take that out, put a thin one in there and put it in there that way, and then my clutch clearance come out good by leaving the wave out that way. So if you find that in there, that's something you're going to find sometimes. I don't see it a lot, but it is there. And then you have your lower sprag assembly. Look at the inner race here for any chattering. Scotch-brite that up really good. Put your new sprag in there. Always check here for different heights, because they do make two different ones if you have to replace this piece. So just something that'll get you. So, not too shabby, huh, Teresa?
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Thank you again for videoing for us. Everybody enjoys it, definitely. So we're going to get this Colorado back together. 3,000 stall. Going to be a nice unit for them. I'm really excited to do it. I just love when I get to handle all these nice parts from Sonex and Transco and stuff. It's just like a candy in a kid in a candy store, believe me, even though I'm 60, well, fixing to be 61 actually this year. So y'all stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe, push that like button, stuff like that. Again, thank you again, Teresa. Y'all have a great day.